Welcome back, crafty friends. It's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and today I am back with another installment of the Oh So Inspired collaboration. This is the August 2017 blog hop or episode, and for today's creation I chose an inspiration piece from one of our collaborators. Her channel name is Poet Spice. Her name is Jamie, and if you are not a subscriber, you have got to go over there. Not only does she make great creations, but she is such a joy to watch. Her happiness is just contagious whenever you watch your videos. Her channel is linked below because she is a collaborator, like I said, but also at the beginning of the description, there is a link to the video that we are using as inspiration. My takeaway from her video is something that I believe she called a fold back card. And when it's folded, it's the same size as a regular card, but I have been making cards for years and I have never seen that I remember a card quite like this. It seems simple to make, but yet it's got a little something extra to it. One thing that I love to do is make cards in bulk. I like to take a simple kind of layout or sketch, figure out the papers and the cardstock I would need to make a whole bunch of them. And I actually used to have an online magazine called Sheet Load of Cards, where that is what we did every month. We had a sketch, I told you how many pieces of pattern paper, how many pieces of cardstock, and so on, and you could usually make like 8 to 12 cards from it. So when I sat down last night to start to figure out what I was going to do for this month's video, I realized that this card would be great for mass production because it's just simple and I can go back later and add sentiments or stamps to fit the specific occasion that the card will be for. Now, I have not tested this out yet, so I'm hoping it works. But what I did, I just roughly sketched out my cutting diagram of how I think I'm going to have to do this. And then I figured out how many pieces of pattern paper and cardstock I would need. So hopefully, cross your fingers, this works. Otherwise, you will never see this part of the video and I'll just show you what I made. I now interrupt this regularly scheduled video to share with you a bit of foreshadowing. Let's listen to what I just said again. Hopefully, cross your fingers, this works. Otherwise, you will never see this part of the video and I'll just show you what I made. Well, guess what? It didn't work out as planned. But I decided, since it's a craft and it doesn't have to be perfect, and sometimes we have to roll with unexpected punches while creating stuff, I am leaving the whole video as is, and you're going to see at the end how I kind of repaired the mistake that I made when doing my sketch. It all works out in the end. And now back to your regularly scheduled video. For this sheet load of cards, I think I'm going to end up with 12 cards. What I'm going to need is 4 sheets of 12 by 12 pattern paper, and I'm going to be using some papers from the Petals and Blooms collection from Hobby Lobby. And if you've been watching my channel lately, you're going to definitely recognize this, as this is the paper pad that I use to make my junk journal. I have already pre-selected those pattern papers, and these are the 4 that I'm going to be using. And what I love about choosing papers from a pad like this is you know that they're all going to coordinate. So I chose those 4 12 by 12 pattern papers. For the card base, you will need 6 8.5 by 11 pieces of cardstock. Now, normally I would not use black for a card base. My husband thinks it's really depressing, so I've tried to stop doing it so much. It goes with all of the papers, and you're really not going to see much of it because a lot of it's going to be covered up by pattern paper. So I have 6 black 8.5 by 11 pieces of cardstock, for the front of the card, we're going to have a little piece on the front, and for that you need 2 more pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I went ahead and decided to stick with the black. And then for on the inside where your message goes to your recipient, you will need another 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And just to make it easy on my recipient's eyes, I have chosen white cardstock for the inside. So now that I have shown you what you need, if you want to pause the video and go grab some papers and join me, that would be awesome. Because of the miscalculation earlier, you will want to go ahead and grab 1 extra 12 by 12 inch pattern piece of paper. And now's the time to cross your fingers, and we're going to get started. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is cut down all of our 12 by 12 pattern papers. What we're going to do is off the top, we're going to cut 5 1/4 inches. Then next, we're going to cut at 2 3/4 inches. And then finally, we're going to have 2 strips that are 1 7/8. So this is now what your 12 by 12 sheet will look like. Now we're going to cut each of these pieces down to smaller sizes to go on the cards. The top piece, the 5 1/4 inch tall piece, we are going to cut into 3 4-inch wide sections. So because the paper is 12 inches, you will be using all of that. For the 2 3/4 inch piece, we are going to cut it to 3 pieces that are 3 3/4 inches wide, which of course my cutter does not show me where that's at. This is one thing I do not like about this cutter. I know I've mentioned it before, but I have got to get a new trimmer that actually has a ruler you can see. So I'm gonna have to get out another ruler and figure out where that is at. Oh, and actually I think I marked it right. There's a pen mark. So I'm gonna do 3 3/4. The last 2 pieces that are 1 7/8 inches wide, you're going to cut these to 5 1/4 inch long. Now my pattern papers, it doesn't matter which way the pattern goes because they're full. Now once I make these cards, you're going to see that if your pattern paper has like a top and a bottom, you might want to pick a different one because the orientation will end up being different depending on where these pieces go in the card. Now this one we actually are going to end up with 1 extra piece. We only needed 3 of each size, and this actually got us 4, but I'll keep it like that. Out of that 1 piece of 12 by 12, we have 3 pieces that are 4 inches across and 5 1/4 inches down. We have another 3 pieces that are 2 3/4 inches across and 3 3/4 inches down. And then finally we have 4 pieces that are 1 7/8 across and 5 1/4 tall. What I'm going to do now is cut the other pieces of pattern paper. Alright, now all of my pattern papers are cut, so it's going to be time to start on the cardstock. The first thing I'm going to do is work on the cardstock bases, so I'll be bringing out my 6 8.5 by 11 pieces of cardstock. Because this will end up just being a normal card when folded, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, when I cut my cardstock bases, I will just be cutting it right in half at 5 1/2 inches tall. Alright, and here I have my 12 card bases now. The next thing I'm going to do is pull out my scoreboard. If you do not have a scoring tool, that is perfectly fine. You should be able to just fold these. What I'm going to be doing is scoring each one so they fold in half. So at 4 1/4. And then one side I need to score in half again. So this would be 2 1/8. So I'm going to move that over to my 2 1/8 inch mark. Now what's going to happen is it gets folded in half, and then this front part gets folded back. So it's kind of like a Z fold, but one side is longer. If you do not have a scoreboard, I would just fold your card in half and then just fold that front flat back. And actually that was probably quicker and easier than using the scoreboard, so I think I'm going to do that. You could always get out your bone folder too and make these creases nicer. I though think mine is packed away, so I cannot look for it. If you have ever been a Stampin' Up! Customer, you might have heard of a one-sheet wonder. And that's when you cut a single piece of pattern paper into different pieces and you make a whole bunch of cards, and then all your cards have that same pattern paper on it. I also enjoy doing those, but I like the variety that using different pattern papers on each card gives. So if I have to use a few extra sheets of pattern paper, I'm okay with that. So now I have 12 card blanks that are ready for my pattern papers, but before we start adhering those, we need to cut up the other black cardstock and the white pieces. These two pieces of black cardstock we are going to cut into 3 by 4 inch cards. So I'm going to be cutting it 4 inches, and then I will do another cut at 4 inches. And that leaves us with just a little strip of black cardstock left over. Cutting the next one the same. And now we're going to cut these to 3 inches wide, and each piece should get us 6 3 by 4 inch cards for a total of 12. Now when you're doing your cards, if you find that you need a larger piece on the front to hide your message inside, you can just adjust it accordingly. I did this size because I knew that when I cut my pattern papers, everything would fit okay on this. And now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the white cardstock. If you are interested in seeing the old issues of my online magazine, I will link that blog below. I have not updated it in years, but you could at least download the issues and just use current products or current stamps. These sketches themselves could probably be timeless. So now all of my cutting is done. I have my card blanks, my pieces for the front, my pieces for the inside, and all my pattern papers. What I'm going to do now is take these pieces for the front and grab out all of the 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 pieces of pattern paper. And these will get adhered to the center of the black pieces. When I adhere stuff like this, I usually go just around the outsides. If you didn't want to use that much adhesive, you could probably just do 2 of the sides and you're fine. and I just eyeball it. I know it's not going to be perfect. You know, if my trimmer's a little off or the cardstock's not quite 8.5 by 11. So there is one piece done. I'm going to go ahead and just do these with the rest of the pattern papers. I have all of my fronts ready, and now I'm going to start putting pattern papers on the card blanks. But I do, for myself, I want to do this kind of strategically. You can choose how to do this however you want, but what's going to happen is when you fold this back, there's going to be a pattern paper here, a pattern paper on the inside, and then a pattern paper on this inside. My plan for now is if I have a black and white piece here, I want a floral here, and then the other black and white on the inside. So I'm going to go through and kind of put these together. So like if I do this on the front, I'm going to want this black and white strip on the inside. I want one of my florals here, and the other, let's see, this size floral will go on this. So I'm going to go ahead and make one of these really quickly. Going to go ahead and adhere everything down. So basically all your pattern papers are going to go on the inside of the folded card. If the card folded like normal, just in half, that's what it would look like. The outside is blank and the inside has all of the pattern paper. But what we're going to do now is fold that in and adhere this just in the center like that. Okay, I did get some adhesive outside the center, so I'm just going to rub that off. Now, this is when our white pieces come into play. This is actually going to go on the inside right behind the front piece. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to do that so you don't see too much of it. I'm gonna go ahead and put adhesive on the back. I think what I'll do is line this up on the back. Now the adhesive is facing up. And I'm just going to try to make it stay where I want it, just right on top of that black piece. Oh, I know that went wrong. I'm gonna fold that in half. And there is the finished card, but later, like I say, I will go and I'll add like a die cut or a stamped image or a sentiment that goes with the occasion I'm sending it out for. But look at that. How adorable is that, and how easy was it? Let's go ahead and try some more. Since I know that this combination works out, I'm going to go ahead and put these patterns together. So I'm just going to make kind of like a little card kit for each of the card blanks. So that one's ready. The next one will have this on the front, so that means I want this for the inside, this for the other strip, and then this for the big inside. Let's go ahead and put one of these together. So there's the second pattern. I'll go ahead and put all of those together. Now let's move on to some where I have the floral on the front. So since the floral will be on the front, I will want, I messed this up. It is not going to make 12 cards. Let's just try to figure it out. So let's see, if I have a floral here, I would like a dot here, a dot here, and I don't have any more floral for the inside. So like I said at the beginning of this video, I hope this works out, but obviously when I was doing my drawings or my math, I did not take something into consideration. You know, we're going to make the rest of these work. I will just use what I have, and then at the end we'll figure out how many cards I was able to make. And what might end up happening is I might not get the ratio I want, like, oh, this is a floral, this is, you know, just a black and white, this is a floral. I'm just going to use up all the pages I have. I now have 4 different cards put together, and they do all look different. The patterns are in different orders. What I'm going to do now is use the kits that I do have left, and I'm going to go through and see how many cards I can get, and I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. Okay, with my cutting guides as they were, I was able to get 8 complete cards out of that, as well as I still have fronts and insides for 4 more cards, but I am missing 8 small or skinny strips for here. Originally I thought, oh, I'm gonna have too many of those skinny strips because each page I got 4 out of, but joke is on me, I'm actually low on those. What I'm going to do is, because my fronts are floral and my big inside piece is black and white, I am going to choose 1 more pattern paper from the paper pad, and I'm actually going to have it be a floral. I think to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to go with this blue floral. Each of the papers I have left does have some of the blue in it. They're little bits, but I think that's going to be okay. It will help draw that out. So I'm going to go now and cut this piece of paper into 8 strips that are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 inches. The first cuts I'm making are 5 1/4 inches wide. And now I'm going to use those strips and cut until I get 8 at 1 7/8 inches wide. Alright, now I have 8 pattern paper strips. Now what I would do next time to correct this so I don't have 2 of the same patterns together, which in the grand scheme of things is not a huge deal. I could have planned it in the beginning to look like that. But what I would do next time is, instead of trying to follow a pattern like floral, black and white, floral, black and white, I would just randomly put the pieces in here. And then I don't think I would end up with this, but like I say, it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting these finished. There's one of those, and I'm just going to finish up the rest, and I'll see you back here in just a little bit. And here's a look at all 12 of my finished cards. Now when I need a card for a birthday or an anniversary or get well or sympathy, I can just come down to my card stash, get one of these prepared cards, and add sentiments or stamps, something to it to personalize it for the occasion. And honestly, I actually just kind of like these how they are. The patterns are nice and bold, that even if you didn't want to add a sentiment, I think that that would be perfectly okay. Thank you so much for watching today and sticking with me through my little hiccup. I hope that you will go and visit everybody else in the collaboration. All of their channels are linked below. If you did enjoy this little video, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel and you would like to know when I upload more videos, I would love to have you hit the subscribe button below. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for stopping back by. I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye.